All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Wander Lounge. Today I have Colleen Vincent with us, and today's episode is going to be a little bit different from our normal podcast episodes because Colleen is partnering with me to work on our women's Greece trip in September. So today is kind of like a Q&A and just a reference point for you all to get more information about our Greece trip. That's going to be September 12th through 19th. Hi, Colleen.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thanks for coming on the show and sharing all your
Yeah.
expertise behind it. Okay, so first we have to let people know how we know each other, how we met, and like how we kind of got together to plan this trip.
Yeah. So I met Ariel, oh man, I guess like maybe 2 years ago, two
Yeah,
and a half
definitely.
years ago. Yeah, I'm a speech pathologist and she was kind of finishing out doing her fellowship for speech pathology. And I was actually her clinical supervisor in the pediatric hospital. And we selected her for our fellow and we worked together for about a year there till her fellowship was up. So that's kind of how we met each other. And then kind of this trip came together. I know, Ariel has her travel podcast and really stresses women travel, solo travel, and I'm also a travel agent. So I kind of approached her with an idea, what about a group trip for your podcast listeners and for women? So we kind of worked together with one of the vendors that we use to really create this customized itinerary in a great trip, especially for women.
Yeah, I just love so much that who would have thought when we met and worked at the hospital, we'd be like planning a woman's
Yes.
trip to Greece.
We definitely have very different personalities, but it's probably why this works.
I
I'm
think
more
so.
of the practical planner. You're more of the dreamer, like, what about this? So I
Let's
think it
just
really comes together. So that's great.
Yes, and I will say for a group trip, we need a practical planner for sure.
Yes, I am that person. I got you.
Okay, so yeah, I guess first let's talk about a little bit. We talked about why we decided to have this trip. Why Greece? Kind of out of all the countries, why do you think this will be our first great women's trip?
Yeah, Greece is really a hot destination. So it's one of the most kind of sought after places people are trying to go. It's actually one of the most popular places for me personally that I've planned trips in this past year for people going to Greece. It really blends, history, beautiful water, beautiful scenery, those charming, quaint villages. We think about those white buildings, whitewashed buildings with the blue domed roofing, and just
Yeah.
really the warm Greek hospitality and also amazing food. So I think it's a really great destination for women only. It has that mix of culture, connection, comfortable. It's really safe and easy to navigate, and especially in this group setting. You're going to have even more safety in numbers. All the places we're going are researched and vetted. We're all going together. We can do shopping, we can do island hopping, go to beaches. All the towns are walkable. So I really think it lets us, kind of have a structure to itinerary and then also allows people, this itinerary allows you to have some time to kind of do your own thing or downtime if that's kind of what you need.
Yeah. Yeah, and I will say I 100% agree with that. Greece is one of my favorite places in the world, so I'm so excited to share this for some people if it's their first time going to Greece, or if maybe they're going to Greece but different cities, or have just come to Greece and haven't experienced it and like as a group trip before.
Yeah.
Um, and I definitely love how our itinerary, like we have fun, structured activities, but
Hmm.
we do have that downtime. So that way, if some people specifically have done their own research and they're like, I'm in Greece, I want to see or do this particular thing,
Yeah.
they have the time to do that. They don't have to feel like, oh man, I went all the way to Greece and like the one thing that I wanted to do, I didn't have time for.
Yeah.
And then another thing I know we're working on a list for when we have those downtime moments.
Mhm.
If you have not researched your own thing you want to do, that's completely okay because we're going to have a list already that people can kind of choose from if they want some ideas, or you might just want to use that time to hang out on the beach.
Yeah. And I think it's really nice too. I think it's always hard, even in my own family. I have two teenagers, so they have very different personalities. And, my husband and I have different personalities. So I think trying to have that blend, at least that usually works for me, of like, I need a structure and I want things to do, but I also need some kind of chill time, downtime, and just freedom to explore or go somewhere that maybe I didn't plan and maybe is a little bit more spontaneous. So I
Yeah.
think this itinerary that we created really allows that. And like I said, if you're with a group of people too, and you just need time to recharge and kind of chill out, I think this gives you the opportunity to do that. It's not one of those typical customized, large group trips where it's like you're getting on a bus, going from place to place, and you're gone from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. and you're exhausted. We really want people to enjoy the experience and have time to enjoy it and have time for all the things that they're looking for on this trip.
Yeah. Yeah. Having that time to recharge your social battery is a
Yes,
must.
yes.
Okay, so where are we going in Greece? I know we're going to like a few places.
Mhm. So as far as the cities, we'd be flying in and out of Athens, just kind of, the bigger airport, more accessible. And then the actual islands that we're going to. So Athens is obviously our first stop. We're flying in and out of there. Mykonos is our another island that we're going to, Santorini. And then at the end of our trip, we would return to Athens and have some time to kind of sightsee there and then, fly out from there. Um, so that's kind of the overview, a high level overview of kind of the places that we're visiting.
Yeah, and I feel like even though I've been to Greece, Athens I've been to, and I've been to some of the islands, but this will actually be my first time in Santorini and Mykonos, and the pictures look gorgeous.
Yes.
I feel like when you think of Greece, those are the three places that kind of first come to people's minds.
Yes. Yeah, I personally have not been there, so I'm really excited to go on this trip. Like I said, I've planned it for several of my own clients, and every time I plan a trip, I'm like, "Oh, this looks great." But actually, like I said, I recently planned 2 trips here for other clients, so it really makes me really, really want to go since I've already thoroughly researched it kind of on my own.
Yeah. And okay, so then I know what tours do we have planned and like where are
Mhm.
they?
Yeah, so like we talked about, we're kind of starting in Athens. Then next we'll be heading to Mykonos. And then in Mykonos, sorry, I'm like, I got too many. You're
Oh
gonna
yeah.
have to cut
Same.
this
I have
part
about
out.
100 tabs open right.
I gotta find where all we're going. Okay, so we're gonna start out in Athens, like we said, flying in and out of Athens. Then we'd be heading to Mykonos. On Mykonos, we'd be doing a private full day island tour. We'd be visiting a traditional farm for a hands-on Greek cooking class, and then lunch at that farm. And then we'd have some time to kind of explore the town. Um, and then there's a place called Little Venice. That's kind of what one of the Mykonos towns. And then kind of checking out, the windmills they're known for before returning to our hotel. In Santorini, as far as kind of planned activities, we have a private catamaran cruise. So we'll be sailing, and then we'll be stopping at the red and white beaches, Arcatori, and then the hot springs. We'll be swimming in the volcanic waters. And then we'll be enjoying a barbecue dinner while with drinks on board our boat until we return to the hotel. And then in Athens, we have a private guided tour of Athens, the Acropolis, and kind of the iconic places to go there. And then we return to our hotel. And then on our final night, we do have like a farewell kind of group dinner already pre organized.
Yeah. My mouth is literally watering when you talk about all the food.
Yes, I love Greek food.
That's probably yeah. You're just if you're like, where's Ariel? I'm gonna be at a restaurant
Yeah,
somewhere. Um,
yeah.
so then another thing I think it's really important for people to know is we
Mhm,
have already planned all the logistics. So all the
mhm,
ferries we have to take,
mhm,
any flights we have to take from the islands. Like for example, we have a flight from Santorini to Athens. Those are already planned for and covered in the trip. And when we
mhm,
do our tours, we have a private car for that. So we don't have to worry about taking like public buses or being with
mhm,
people that aren't with our group.
mhm. Yeah, so pretty much for this trip, what's included, like we talked about, we have those accommodations, so 7 night hotel. Our pricing does include sharing a room with someone. If you kind of, want to be by yourself, you can do that. It's just an additional cost, and those rooms are just a little bit more limited because of the inventory we're securing. Like we talked about, private transfers to all the ferries. All the ferries are reserved. We do have a transfer for the hotel or from the airport to our hotel and back at the end of our trip, but that may just depend on what time people's flights get in. So that might be a cost on your own, depending on when your flight comes in. That tour of Mykonos is included, the catamaran cruise, our tour in Athens is included. And then we do have several meals included as well. So all the breakfasts are included, one lunch and two dinners are included in that. Like you talked about the ferries, and then that one domestic flight from Santorini to Athens is included. But you would be in charge of your own airfare, possibly getting to and from the airport, depending on what time your flight gets in. And then we really recommend travel insurance um, as well, and that's not included in the cost. So that's something I can definitely give people quotes on. And that just makes sure that if for any reason you can't travel, you're covered. And then also if for any reason during the trip something happens, you're covered for that as well.
Yeah. So I think that's definitely the benefit of, having you on our team is as a travel agent, like if someone's like, I don't know the first thing about buying an international flight, I don't know
Yes.
the first thing about travel insurance, like I love Greece and I want to stay for 2 weeks instead of 1 week,
Yes.
like you can
Yes.
help anyone with like any personal questions they have.
Yes, so I can definitely help if people need help with their flights. Like you said, if somebody's like, you know what, I'd really like to get in 2 days early and explore Athens on my own, or I want to stay later, that's totally something kind of the pre-trip and post-trip. If anyone wants to stay a little bit longer. And then, like I said, obviously I'm on the trip. So if there's any issues on the way, I can resolve those or kind of help people along the way. And then if they have any questions, before we set out, I'm happy to help with that as well.
Yeah. And then another resource that we're giving for you all is everyone who signed up for the group. We're going to do like a WhatsApp group beforehand. So everyone will kind of be kind of connected to the other participants in the group a little bit beforehand through like our WhatsApp group and through chat. We can help give out a packing list for based on like what the temperature and weather will be like, making sure everyone has everything they need. And we're going to be very intentional about, you know, our rooming assignment. So we'll probably send out a little survey or come up with a way to figure out which personalities would do best with each other to bunk up.
Mm.
Obviously, if you're coming with a friend and you want to work room with someone specifically, we can 100% accommodate that.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, we're talking about our rooming assignments. So can you tell us a little bit about like where we're going to be staying while we're in Greece?
Yeah, so all of the places that we're staying are 3 to 4 star hotels. I talked with a lot of different vendors and suppliers. We together looked at a lot of different places. I really feel like the supplier that we're using offered kind of the best options for kind of the price point that we were trying to secure. Greece is not cheap. And in the time that we're going, it's also a really expensive time. So we together really looked at making sure our hotels were centrally located, making sure, they had all the amenities that we would want and we felt like our travelers would want, and just making sure they're places we would want to stay. So all of the places we're staying look amazing, and they all have a great location. And like I said, we're working with a supplier as well. So all of the places we're staying have been vetted, and we know that they're, great hotels.
Yeah, yeah. We definitely have some like eyes on the ground that are scoping out everything for us before we get there.
Yes.
Um, and then let's see. What else? Is there anything you think that they people might want to know for the trip? Oh, okay. So I think I know a lot of women always talk about like safety for our trip. So our group size is max going to be 10 to 20. And I think that's a great size because when we do that individual exploring and things like that, people can pair off with each other if they want to. If you're a seasoned solo traveler and want to venture off on your own, you absolutely can. But I think an added bonus is that we are working with a local tour guide in Greece who can kind of give us the ins and out and kind of adds that extra layer of like safety and protection.
Yeah, and I feel like anytime, you're in a group of people, you always feel a little bit safer. And like you said, if you're a seasoned traveler and you feel comfortable, you could definitely go on your own. And even if you're coming alone and you don't know anyone on the trip, obviously if you signed up for the trip, you're excited to travel and you're excited to meet other people. So I think very naturally friendships, will form. And I'm sure if you're a little bit nervous about going alone and not knowing anyone, I would say don't worry about it. Ariel and I personally are very outgoing and we will make friends with
Yes.
you. And
Yes.
like I said, if you're signing up for this trip, I think by nature you're outgoing, or maybe you're not really outgoing, but you're trying to push yourself out of your comfort zone, which is amazing. But I think by nature of it being a really small group and being all women, that those bonds and friendships will easily be formed. So I would say if that's kind of a drawback or something that you're like, I don't know about this, I would say that should be the last thing that you're kind of worried about.
Yeah. Same. Everyone who's reached out, who's had interest in this trip, has been great. They've just seemed,
Yeah.
I think it's just gonna be such an amazing, fun group of women. So,
Yeah. And I think too, just think about, I don't know, even just personally, even just meeting up with my different groups of friends that I have that are all women, even if it's just for like an hour or 2 hours a night without our significant others and without our children, I personally just feel so re-energized and recharged. And even that's just even just a few hours. So can you imagine a whole entire week of like all women together? It just feels nice to know that we're kind of all going through the same thing, even if obviously Ariel and I are in different phases of life. Even if you're in different phases of life, you could connect with someone, and like I said, really kind of formulate those friendships and bonds.
yeah. And I think one of my motivations is I went to a like summer all women summer
Hmm.
camp last year. It was a weekend thing.
Yeah,
And I went by myself and it was something about everyone being on that shared experience together that everyone
yeah,
went in very with an open mind.
yeah.
And I 100% feel like that same type of like energy is gonna be this same with this trip.
Yeah, even if you went away to college, everyone shows up, nobody knows anyone.
Yeah,
You're all together. And how quickly, like I said, you kind of form your bonds or find your people that, kind of have your same vibe.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so tell us a little bit about your experience with travel. What got you into travel?
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm a speech pathologist. I'm a pediatric speech pathologist. And I kind of, with that role, typically the people that like that role are really type A and like to plan and like to organize. Um, I've been planning trips for my own family for years. I've done a lot of different travel. Sometimes it's just been my husband and I. Sometimes it's been, with my sister, with friends. Like I said, I have two teenagers, so kind of planning travel with them. Um, I really just love planning and organizing and kind of getting all the details together and then experiencing it and seeing it all come together. Obviously, wherever we travel, like I love exploring the food, kind of getting the culture, meeting all the people. And I think it's just so fun to kind of get outside of your bubble and kind of see what else is going on out there. Um, so, like I said, I just love planning and organizing, and I just love traveling. Actually, last year, my husband would probably say I maybe traveled a little too much. We took a lot of trips, which was amazing. But yeah, I just really love traveling and like the sense of freedom and exploration, and kind of getting, like we said, getting outside your comfort zone. If it's not something you've done before or you're not sure about traveling, if you haven't really been out of the country, I think this is a great opportunity since everything is planned for you and we're all going together and we'll be in a large group. And even if you're, like I said, if you're unsure about some of the fine details, that's kind of where I come in and I can help you do those things.
Yeah. Yeah, I think dream team. So excited. Okay. We also have early bird specials, so make sure you check out our website because those will be for a limited time. But as long as you put your deposit down before that time, you can get those discount. And can you talk a little bit how payment plans will be structured? They're pretty flexible.
Yeah, so very, very flexible. Our right now our down payment is $200, right? Is that accurate with the early bird
Mhm.
special? Okay, so $200 down payment, and then if you're doing the early bird pricing, kind of the total for the trip is $4,085.
Mhm.
So pretty much you can pay in any increments you want. We just need that full amount by May 27th is kind of our final payment date. So like I said, $200 down. And I know right now it's like, okay, Christmas is over. I'm paying off my Christmas bills. It's freezing maybe where you are. We've had a lot of snow here and I know you have too.
Yeah.
So I feel like right now is my season where I'm like cocooned and it's dark and it's hard to think about past, these couple months. But we are gaining more daylight every day. And I feel like now is the time people start kind of planning. I've actually had a lot of people in the past couple of weeks, travel clients reach out to me about planning trips for the summer and planning trips for the fall. So I think this is a really great time to start thinking about those things. And like I said, the down payment is really just $200. And as long as that final payment is by the end of May, we'll be good to go.
Yeah. And then just to reiterate, so that payment covers all the hotels, the ferry transfers, the flight from Santorini to Athens. It
Mm-hmm,
covers um all of the three tour excursions,
mm-hmm,
like the island hopping, the tour in Santorini,
mm-hmm,
the tour in Athens. It
mm-hmm,
covers the cooking class on the local farm. It covers a catamaran cruise.
mm-hmm.
And then it also covers, did I see the hotels? The hotels.
Yeah, the
And
meals,
then,
the seven breakfasts, the
mhm,
lunch, two dinners.
yeah.
Yes.
So definitely a great value for everything that we're getting.
Mm-hmm,
So I feel like those are the highlight questions that people have been
mm-hmm.
asking me in passing. Um, Colleen, can you let us know where we can find you and your travel company, just for people who are interested or might have more questions?
Yeah, so my travel company is Elevate Travel Group. So that's kind of the name of the company. So you can find me on that website. There's a couple other people that I work with. You can find me on Instagram, Colleen Vincent 7, I think. Does that sound right?
Oh yeah, I always like
Like, hold on. Let
I'll
me let me look
also
while we're here.
tag your Instagram in the show notes
Okay.
as well too, and put the
I'm
name
like,
of
I
your
don't,
travel company.
sorry. I'm like, I don't, yes. Okay, so Colleen Vincent 7 is you can find me on Instagram. And then actually in my information on Instagram, I have a in my link tree, I have a tab for Greece, so you could follow it there. Or also, I know on your Instagram as well, you have that tagged.
Yep. So we have the both our pages. You can find the link at wanderlaunchpodcast.com and the Greece tab. We also have the full itinerary written out if you want to look for it. Definitely feel free to reach out, ask us any questions,
Mm-hmm.
and as long as your deposit is in, that will reserve your spot, and then you can pay on your own flexible terms. So I I'm pumped. I'm telling you, I love Greece. By the time we go on this trip, this will be my fourth time to Greece,
Wow, that's
and
amazing.
I could go 1,000 more times and be equally as excited. I've
I
never
mean,
been
I'm
excited.
excited I can't tell you the last time I probably went on a trip with a group of women. It was probably in college. It was probably like a spring break. I mean, I've gone on trips with my sister, but like a bigger group of women. I'm really excited for that. And just like I said, the bonds and the friendships and kind of meeting new people. Like I love meeting new people and kind of exploring something together. And like you said, I feel like if you're a little more introvert and you're like, I don't know, I kind of want to go. Don't worry, Ariel and I will make friends with you. We will seek you out. We will find you. I feel like a lot of times I kind of seek out the person that's not really talking to anyone and try to engage with them and get them to talk. And also we're speech pathologists, so we love to talk, so we
The
will
gift
find
of
you.
gab.
Yeah, we definitely have a.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Well, thank you for coming to share
Yeah,
your
thanks for having
expertise
me.
and answer people's questions they've been having about the trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll see you guys in Greece.
Yeah. If you feel reach out with any questions, thanks for having me. It was great to be here.
Of course, thanks for coming.